What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Mr. Miller here, and we are on eTrade Pro looking at Apple on a 3-day chart. What I'm going to show you today is my trade on Apple yesterday. Definitely a lot of volatility. Apple popped pre-market. As you can see down here on my screen, this is the pre-market. We popped up, I think it was like $12 a share or something crazy. But in the middle of the day, California decided they were going to start closing down again due to the COVID-19 virus. But besides that, it was a pretty good day. I made a pretty good profit on Apple. What I did is I had calls from the previous day. And right here you can see where Apple started to level off in the first 30 minutes. I actually got out. I was kind of scared. It popped up, see, pre-market was 383 and we opened up at 388 all the way up to 393. So it was a $10 gain from pre-market from the previous day. I sold when we started to kind of consolidate right here, made this flag pattern. I was up a lot. I knew there's potential it could go higher, but I actually got out. And then Apple, of course, decided to take off. And I ended up watching it. And I know from the past that whole numbers, stocks, get really iffy around whole numbers. And as we approached 400, I knew there was a good chance that we weren't going to pass it up. As much as we were up for the day already, Apple was up like $15 a share at this point. When it pulled back, I actually bought a handful of calls here in the 398 range and rode them out up here to almost 400. After this first red candle, I sold them, and it was all downhill from there after the governor of California came out and said they were going to close down again. It started to sell off. I did see this little bounce here to retreat just underneath our moving averages, and I actually bought some puts and rode them all the way down. I got this little bounce here. I got rid of those puts and pretty much stayed out of Apple for the rest of the day until about the last 30 minutes or so. I bought some more puts and sold them before close. If you can see a huge indicator here, it's been a great opportunity to buy puts and ride them out all the way to the close. If you have this big 3 moving average crossover to the downside, and tried to test these moving averages a couple times and failed and continued to go down. And I also had the VWAP up, and the minute Apple closed under the VWAP, I started to buy some puts. But the good news is Apple was up $15 a share. It ended up closing negative for the day, but that also let us know that Apple had the potential to trade back up to 400. So, of course, today I got right back into Apple again, but it was definitely a choppy session. I started off with our typical pullback early into the market. I ended up buying some calls in the middle of the day because I wasn't really sure what Apple was going to do, because it seemed like there was some news lingering and the market was kind of trading sideways, and then the market was positive and negative and positive, and wasn't really sure which direction the market was going to go, and I didn't really want to get burnt. So I actually just bought a small 5 contract position on Apple after it crossed over these moving averages in the middle of the day, and rode them out until the last minute or two of close and got rid of them. I closed out my positions completely, trying, like I said, not to hold positions overnight if I don't have to, because it's such a risk with all the stuff going on. Anything can happen to make a market drop overnight, and I don't want to get caught up in any bad news overnight that I can't control and get out of my positions and be stuck and wake up to a loss the next morning. I also made a small trade on Microsoft today. I really like Microsoft. If you look at, it's actually done really well. This entire pandemic, it's done pretty well. But if you look at the 3-month or 6-month chart, you have a 4-day pullback and this hammer today. Really good volume. We're bouncing off the 13 EMA, as well as coming into earnings, I believe, on the 22nd. Great trade to look at. I looked at earnings whispers. Microsoft is possibly beating earnings by 10 or 11 cents. We've got a hammer bouncing off the 13-day EMA or 13 period EMA. Breakthrough average volume. 4-day pullback. It's looking pretty good. Up $2 for the day. It was pretty rocky throughout the day actually. I almost got out of the trade. I ended up buying on this pullback and riding it out, and it crossed under my EMAs a few times, but ended up, pretty much trading sideways for most of the day and held up. And I actually held on to these options right before close, and I held on to one option just for shits and giggles if it opens up tomorrow, which it seems like it's going to be, because there was some good news out on mRNA, which is Moderna. Of course, vaccine news seems to really make the market pop. So as of now, it is 9 p.m. and the pre-market is up 279 points. So looking pretty good for tomorrow. Definitely looking for some good bullish trades tomorrow. Look for those 30-minute pullbacks, and just like you see here on Microsoft, and just like you saw back on Apple, it's a great buying opportunity here. If you're worried about risk, you could always wait until they cross above the moving averages or above your VWAP. I know I don't have VWAP. I'll pull VWAP up right here. All studies, VWAP. Make it pink so you can see it. There you go. You can wait for this break above VWAP to enter this trade. But this 30-minute pullback in the market, or even the first hour or so in the market, you see this pullback and it starts to run up and volume increases. Great opportunity here. Similar setup as Apple this morning. Here's Apple, almost identical pattern. Tech stocks have been a real winner recently, especially with things cooled off with China. Nothing crazy with China going on right now, so not a whole lot to worry about with Apple, because Apple has a huge tie to China. But that was just my recap for today's and yesterday's trading.